Thornton. I am stopping in this evening with my sister, Marcia Sally. We are here tonight to talk about walking through grief, and she is a licensed master's social worker here to give us some tips on how to navigate grief, starting with welcome, sis, to the platform.
Thank you so much, sis, for welcoming me here and this opportunity to be here. I am here to talk about grief. Also, yes, I am a licensed master's level social worker. I am here for all things mental health. So, even after this podcast, if you have a question related to the current topic or any other mental health topic that you want to discuss in the future, feel free to put it in the chat. We can talk about
Yes.
it.
So, did you want me to start off with my question?
Sure.
Okay, can you explain to us what grief is?
So, grief is our natural emotional response to death. Grief is also, it can be complicated, it's personalized, it is our way of moving through I'm gonna say moving through the grieving process in a way that is different because we are no longer connected. So it's like we become a different person because that person is not here anymore. So it's like, who am I now that I'm not connected to that person? What identity now do I have to take on without that person because I've lost a part of me?
Hmm.
So, how do I move forward in a sense that still incorporates them, even though they're not here, but incorporates some things about them, like, what was their favorite dish? I could memorialize them by making their favorite dish. I could write them a letter. Um, Grief can really get complicated because maybe the dynamics of our relationship at the time of their passing was traumatic because maybe we weren't on good terms. So you're left with not only the grieving process, but how do I deal with that as well?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say that there's no right or wrong way to deal with grief, and there's certainly not a deadline in dealing with it. Your love was deep, so your pain will be too. You are not broken, you are grieving, and that's a sacred human process that deserves gentleness and care.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that.
Hmm.
I have another question. I was writing down some notes, some of the things you were just saying. What are the different phases of grief?
So there are different stages, yes, stages and phases of grief. The first one is denial. It's actually called DAPTA. Just it's like the acronyms for it. But anyway,
Hmm.
the first stage is denial. It's like the shock and numbness on the initial um, news that someone has passed. The second stage is anger. Anger may rise through frustration, helplessness, or just feeling out of control because we know we can't control death. But just to know that we was connected to someone and all of a sudden they're not here, it makes you feel like you've lost a sense of agency. The third one is bargaining. Bargaining is when we wish we could change the situation or make it be a different outcome. The fourth one is depression. It's like a deep sadness or feelings of hopelessness. And the fifth one is acceptance. That's when we acknowledge the reality of the loss.
Hmm. Thank you.
Hmm.
What are some tips to give to others to be able to handle or approach as we're approaching the holidays coming up here in a few months? Well, August is a couple more days before August is done, and then we have a few more months before the holiday season. And typically, that really, I believe, exacerbates the grief because usually families are gathering, and of course, during that time, it's like, okay, now we really have to sit with this. How do we process that? What tips do you have for us?
So, some of the tips that I have is knowing that even though your loved one is not here in the physical, there, I fall. I mean, I call it like I've gained an angel. Like I said, they're not here in the physical, but you can still incorporate them. And I feel like if you know that, you know, you're going to have a dinner or something, there are ways that we can memorialize them at the dinner. So when we were little, we had the prayer, everyone had to say a Bible verse. So a way of incorporating that person is no longer at the table is everyone saying something about them or writing something that they want to as a memorial to them, honoring them.
Right.
Also, I feel like a good way as well is before the holidays actually get here to start that grieving process. Visit their grave. You can start really tapping into your higher power, giving yourself grace, resting because you know that anxiety is building. Um, Also, writing them a letter, expressing how you feel without them, writing God a letter,
Mm,
giving yourself that grace, being mindful, being in the moment, trying not to worry about what's ahead, just being in the present because a lot of times we worry about things in the past and in the future, and it's literally robbing us of today. So it's like, yes, this loss has shaken my soul, but what I'm feeling makes sense. So it's like taking this one breath at a time is a way of giving ourselves grace. Also knowing that um, it's okay if you don't feel like you're healing yet. Sometimes grief isn't about moving on, it's about learning to carry what feels unbearable.
that's great. That's good information. What are some things that we should not say when it comes down to um, offering support to someone who has lost a loved one? Of course, we lost our auntie this month, actually, Aunt Crystal. So we know that our family is grieving her loss. And um, what are some of the things that we should not say to anyone who's going through this process? Because sometimes we may think we're helping by saying, by saying things, and it could be all the wrong things. Like I've heard someone say, oh, it's God's will, and God will help you through it. But I don't think that's the right thing to say. That doesn't seem appropriate.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
Loss and grief is that, and when you're going through it you don't really want to hear that kind of stuff, right? it's
Right.
just it just seems to be so inappropriate. So help us to know what things not to say.
So, what I feel like is something that we shouldn't say, like time heals all wounds. I feel like that's like cuts people deep.
Mm,
And this too will pass. The
mm,
best thing we can do to support someone when they're going through grief is just to be there. Sometimes just listening to them, letting them get their story out, not putting that pressure on them to make them feel like, oh, time heals all wounds. Because remember, grief changes us forever
mm,
because the way we once moved through the world with that person, it's no more. So now we have to figure out a way, how can I navigate through the world now without that person being here, but still incorporating their memories in everything I do and honoring them. So that could mean um, maybe that person told you, oh, I would like to see you do this in your future if it was a parent or something, and
mm.
you could work on that. This is so many different things. You know what your relationship with that person was. So it's honoring them, Like I said, writing them a letter, giving yourself grace, and connecting with your family members and not isolating, not relying on self medication, such
Mm,
as drinking, things that you know are not going to benefit you. It's like thinking, if I engage in this activity, is it benefiting me? How is it moving me forward to healing?
mhm.
So I feel like it has to be things that are beneficial, things that'll help you and not harm you. And that includes the people you talk to, what you expose your spirit to, such as the music, people we hang around, even television. If I know I'm at my most vulnerable stage, then I have to be very attentive, or should I say, intentional at how I'm taking care of me. So that means I know certain things that's not moving me forward or it's going to make my mood improve, then I can't be exposed to
Right. Well,
it.
that's
Yeah.
good information. Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that's very helpful information. And I say that it reminds me of when dad passed away 6.5 years ago, and being at his funeral. And as I look back on it now, I realize I was pretty much numb while I was there because I couldn't believe he had passed. And he had in our discussions, he was planning to come visit because I'm out of state. He was planning to come visit that summer, but he passed in
Mhm.
January. So then I felt like I was left with, okay, all these emotions. Like I felt like maybe I could have been there more for him, or I should have been there more for him, although we were on the phone quite often. But and there was a bunch of other things going on, like having younger kids at the time. But yeah, I just had to sort through that and make peace with that, and knowing that to hold on and embrace the relationship that we had, and
Right.
to know that I loved him and he loved me, and we're not going to be able to be around for everyone at every moment of their lives, and it's
Right.
just not possible in reality. But when you love someone, of course you want to be there. So then when they pass, you start toiling through all these thoughts of,
Exactly.
okay, I should have did this, I should have did that, and having some level of guilt around it, right? But then the reality is that we just can't be everywhere at one time.
Absolutely. That is definitely the reality of it. But my experience also with our father's death was I literally felt like I was walking through a fog. I spoke at the funeral. I can't tell you what I said because I just experienced it in a way where sometimes you really don't know what people are going through when they're grieving. It looks different on a lot of people. One person may be present in a moment and can actually um, put that step into that moment and put that mask on for the moment to get through it and then go cry by themselves, where some people will totally try to avoid it. And my experience was in that moment, I was there. And I don't even know if I was necessarily wearing a mask. It's just that I just totally felt numb. It was happening, but it's still I was in denial. I
Mm,
think I was in the first stage of grief. I was in denial, the shock, the numbness of it. Then I got angry. I literally went through all 5 stages of grief. So that's why, I kind of chuckle because looking back at it now and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I really wasn't present. I was there, but I was so hurt and frustrated that it was just too much for me.
sure, sure. It was a lot.
But with coping skills, connection, with people who are quality people, people that you can talk to, shutting out the noise, things that don't benefit me, people who are not aligned with my value system. Not saying that I'm never going to engage with people who don't think like me. I'm just saying that when I am going through something that's really a really trying time in my life, I am very adamant about what and who I expose myself to because it's important to me.
Yes,
It's also important to my healing process.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm learning, like you mentioned, that everyone grieves differently. There is no right way to grieve.
Yes.
You know, you can have five different people and they all display these
Absolutely.
various stages in the grieving process. Mm.
Yeah, but some coping skills that we can use again to deal with that is mindfulness practices. Again, being present in a moment, mindfulness exercise, and focusing on your breathing. Breathing, I also use that as a tool. Breathing exercises where you breathe in, inhale for 4, hold it for 4, and let it out for 4 seconds. So, in that, doing that practice, I would actually put words to it because I'm always searching for meaning to keep me grounded. So, one of the exercises I would do, and I also tell my therapy clients, is when you're doing breaths or doing your breathing exercises, add some meaning to it. Things that make sense to you. For me, I would say I'm breathing in God's mercy and I'm letting go of fear. I will also say I'm breathing in grace. I'm letting go of self doubt. So it's just putting words to it that makes sense to you, that give you meaning, and also remembering that the body keeps the score of what's going on in our head. So it's very imperative to know that whatever we're going through, we still have to remain mindful to some level to try to minimize your grief going to the next level, which is complex grief, which we can come back and talk about at a later date.
Mhm.
But just to be able to have some type of control, but also connecting with a health professional, a mental health professional. And also, I recommend grief group therapy.
Yes,
So it's so many different ways to do this, exercising as well. When you're exercising, that's another good way of, some action, distracting yourself from the grief, doing activities that you enjoy. And again, you can also do activities that the person that you lost once enjoyed,
mhm,
making them proud of you moving forward. So it's a lot of things that you can do. You just have to, connect and speak with people who could give you some good recommendations, and also getting to know who you are as an individual and what exactly do you need, because nobody knows you better than you.
that's right. That's right. Well, those are very good tips and very good information to help us as we travel through the grieving process. And I would definitely like to come back on and keep touching on this topic, especially as we approach the holidays, just to be able to touch base and help others out there who need to have some tools and some input on how to just get started.
And also, if you guys have any other mental health topics that you have questions on or just want us discuss, can you put it in a chat and we'll be more than happy to talk about it. And yeah,
I
we can
agree.
do this. I'm here for it.
I am as well. We'll tune back in. And in the meantime, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to share this video with someone who needs it. Uh,
Yeah.
like the video for YouTube's algorithm to show them, yes, that this is a meaningful platform, and that we definitely are here for you. And subscribe to the channel for, updated content. And thank you again for being here. We will continue to share more information and walk through this grieving process together. And remember that you are not alone, that you have value, you are loved, and you will get through this. So,
Absolutely.
yes, yes. Thank you again, sis, for coming in and sharing some of your information with us, and we'll do it all over again.
Yes, yes, no problem.
Yes, and everyone else, thank you again for watching, and we will see you
In the next video.
the next video. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.